Okay, so in this video, we're going to be talking about Neptune, specifically in the first house. If you have Neptune in the first house, you are a Neptunian. You have Neptune rising. Okay, so a little bit about Neptune, and then we'll go into Neptune in the first house. Okay, so Neptune is not concerned with the physical world, the rational. That is not what Neptune is about. Okay, Neptune rules on an unconscious plane. Okay, it's about fantasy and illusion. Think of dreams and intuition. Okay, it could include psychic abilities, that sort of thing. Deep buried feelings and emotions. Okay, things can get a little foggy when it comes to where your Neptune placement is. Okay, things that you can't understand with your intellect but pick up intuitively is something that that Neptune, your Neptune does. Okay, so what house placement your Neptune is will show you what you desire the most, but you have the most difficulty in achieving. Okay, so let's say you have it in the first house, and Neptune is like a dissolvent because it can't be discerned, and because it is so like dreamy, the boundaries are dissolved. So if you think about the first house, and real quickly, the first house it rules your personality. Okay, it's what you show to the world. It's really your outlook on the world. It also, it influences what you wear, how you act. Okay, that it's your organic disposition. So let's say you have a Neptune, which is, very foggy, dreamy. We're going to say, just very, illusion, fantasy, all of the things we just talked about, and you have it in your sense of self. Now you can see where this could be very positive, and then we'll get to how it can be very negative, but you can see on how this person can be very wishy-washy if you have Neptune in the first house. This person can also be very flaky. This person could have a really hard time understanding who they are because it's really hard to pinpoint Neptune, to define Neptune. And so when you have Neptune in the first house, you could even so much as have an identity crisis your whole life, or just really be feeling like lost, daydreaming in the wind for forever, for like, and it could be a really good thing for you. We don't know what the rest of your chart looks like, okay, because you're going to have strengths and weaknesses in your chart, but you could also just feel almost like eternally lost, like an eternal daydreamer. Okay, so within the first house, looking at it positively, we can think of things as you being good at writing, being poetic. It rules, music, films, it's got that dreamy quality, but also because it's where you can come undone in the first house, well, it's easy to lose yourself, okay? That song, Feeling Yourself Disintegrate, what's the name of that song by the Flaming Lips? That's what it sort of reminds me of, just like yourself dissolving into mist, that identity crisis. And some people with the first house of Neptune just don't know how to fit in. They don't know where they fit in. And when you don't understand things, we tend to avoid that which we don't understand. That can turn into the problem of escapism, and escapism can lead to alcoholism and being a drug addict, that escape into the arms of drugs, alcohol, and positively aspected, you would be like a musician and be poetic and, you know, have your Neptune glasses on and just see life as very, you know, a living poem everywhere you look. You know, you see something beautiful, but it, you know, the downside is that deception, that being in denial, and then not being able to cope with that and escaping. Okay, and you could be a number of things. It could be being codependent. You know, it could be that you're you have issues with food. You know, you have issues with shoplifting, anything to like try to escape and like fill that hole. So back to talking about drugs and alcohol, that's just a huge one that can become a problem with Neptunians, people with Neptune in the first house. Okay, so, you know, again, positive, it would be, you know, you feel life as an inspiration. You know, it's very idealistic. Your life, you're very spiritual and artistic. You know, there's many INFJs, you know, the Enneagram, that have the first house Neptune. Painter, okay. It's really important for people with the first house in Neptune to ground themselves and to shield, because essentially they're psychic sponges. They're the empaths and they feel everything, and then they get so overwhelmed with the energy that they become, and then they dissolve, they disintegrate, they dissipate, and they don't know who they are. Okay, they take on other people's problems. You know, it could be that you're such a dreamer, you always have your head in the clouds, that type of thing. Beware of the leaky aura, letting energy in all the time, okay? And letting all your positive energy and your romantic and creative energy out. You know, you've got to really ground and shield yourself and protect yourself. Another thing I want to touch on with Neptune in the first house that is a big theme is the victim savior complex. That would be the you know, sort of feeling like a martyr, like you're going to save someone, or on the flip side, you need saving. So you could be, I'll save you, and you remove yourself onto this pedestal, okay? Or you could be the person where you're the victim and that you're the poor me and that you're the please help me, you know, I need help. And you have to be really careful of those two right there. They can just be a huge problem. Okay, so, you know, there's a lot of positive to this, and there is the negative, you know, and I think that I sort of touched on both there. Neptune in the first, when it is worked on and when you ground yourself and you have your boundaries, it's just so beautiful, and you see life as beautiful, and it is the artists and the writers and the poets and the dreamers of the world, the counselors, the people, the mystics, okay? Big one there. So it's a really great and interesting placement. It is even hard to talk about a bit because Neptune is just hard to identify and discern. So that was a little bit about Neptune in the first house. I am thinking of doing a series on all of the placements of Neptune. So if you liked that placement, feel free to comment and to talk a little bit about that. Hopefully you can relate and this resonates with you if you do have first house Neptune. And let me know which house should be next, even though I'm probably going to do Neptune in the second house. Okay, thanks so much everyone. Bye-bye now.